Hello, it's Paul and welcome back to another episode of Paul Plays Infinifactory. So we're on to, I believe, the final stretch. It's called the Homeward Fleet. The last set of puzzles to be done, sob. So we're going to do the next one, Navigation Computer. And just whilst we load in, I'd say a big thank you for everybody who's been subscribing and commenting and giving me some support and nice comments. Thanks a million, everybody. It really is appreciated. I'm glad some people are enjoying this. So, onward with this. I have a plan, a cunning plan, I hope. But first of all, let's see what we have to build. This is called Navigation Computer, I believe. It's this kind of circuit board which gets produced down there. And we have these parts, one of these large ones, and I believe 8. Yes. 8 of these, one of the big ones that need to be attached to the surface of it. Right. So my plan, as it stands, is to build it here. So just to roughly in your heads, what I'd like to do is get this, is to get it here, weld everything onto it, and slide it in. So if I bring it out, it definitely needs to go up, doesn't it? So, where is the... Where's that in line with here, is it? Can be hard to know. Is that high enough? How many squares does that go up? Yeah, that's probably enough, isn't it? So... Okay, so that's getting it in here, and it's a little over that side, so I believe it was 2 over. So let's just... So what I'm going to do is, this is where the main circuit board's going to sit, not that one. This is where the components are going to be held in place, and this is like a back plane just to sort of have a look at everything against. Right. So I am 1 too wide, but apart from that, looking good. So I believe these are 2 in and 2 up, are they? I'm going to put welders in on the final back plane here, just to mark the positions of things. Let me just see if that's right. Yes, okay, so I can use them to judge everybody else. So then there's that, and a welder, and that, and a welder. So I'm going to use these now just to make as a sort of kind of template. There's a gap, there's a welder, oops, there's something like that, and then these two kind of sit like that there. So if I can get these blocks, I mean, not some of them aren't sort of connected to another one, but that doesn't really matter for the time being. If I can get these blocks in front of these welders, I know they're in the right place. So let's get this one done first. It always confuses me. You always need to go one more and then turn it. Okay. So, this guy is going to produce 4 blocks for me. Oh, just going to have a look at this again, just to see where they are. Yeah. Okay. I've got these 2 on 2 separate tracks, and so they're going to be producing equally, so I'm going to get 4 blocks from each track. So what I'm going to try and do is there are going to be 2 downward streams. I'm going to, this stream here, on this vertical, I'm going to try and get that one, and these 2 beneath it, and then these 4 from the other stream. So from this stream here, the 4 blocks I would like to do are that one, and these 2. Oh, excuse me. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's just put a placeholder for that one in there. Now, if they drop straight in here, which they are going to do now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to ban this guy from coming up here again, so that we can watch blocks drop in without a huge sheet of... Okay, so let's get these ones organised. So if they drop in here... Now, there's just one thing I know I need to be careful of, okay? And that is the following. I want to slide it out this way. So wherever I have a block, or even on a row with a block, I can't have anything else sticking out, otherwise the slide that way won't matter. Now I could have them sticking out and then pull them back out of the way. Excuse me, my voice is going. But that's not a great plan. Well, it would be. I'm going to do that if there is no other way of doing it. But I'm going to initially try and not have anything else in the way of any block needing to head down here to the final destination. The other thing I know I need to be careful of is because I want to move it this way. I don't really want conveyor belts pushing this way if I can avoid it, because as I run blocks over them, it goes zip, 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 zip back and forward. So if these are still resting on the block, it can be a problem. So I know those 2 things, and I know I need to avoid them from previous puzzles. So if I make that a conveyor belt and drop this in, it'll push to here, it'll keep pushing. Can't stop them here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that, and that to get 2 there. So now I don't need any more coming down. I don't want the 3rd one coming down. So what I'm going to do there is that. And then I'm going to detect it like that. So downward one there like that, and bring it around the back. Okay. So once I've got 2 there, this should push across and hold this one in place. So finally, the only thing I need to do is have another blocker here. When I've got 1 here, it needs to block. Now, I can't put a sensor here because this needs to move right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this welder, and we know, well, I know I'm missing a welder that I need to deal with at a later date. So I've lost the welder for this square here, so I need to do something to get a welder back for that in a little bit. Sorry if I banged the microphone there. Okay, and that looks like this pattern held in place. Bum, 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 and then the 2 lower, like that. Okay, so that one's done. So now, what I'd like to do is get the next group done. So okay, now I have a block here. there's going to be a block here, so, and this block needs to move there. So ideally I would just like to put a rest here to support these two, but I know I can't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bung a lifter underneath it and see if that is going to support these two here. So what do I need to do? So I'd like half of them to go in there. So to do that, I'm going to use one of these newfangled counters set to 2. A bit of conduit and a pusher. So that should push the second one and the fourth one down into that. Oh, excuse me. Now, how do I deal with this one here? So again, what I need to do is put a pusher there. Okay, so now I've got a little problem. So this guy is going to interfere with him. So I have a welder there and a sensor there, so I know I can switch them around. So let me just do that for the time, for quickly. So I'm going to switch that to a welder. I'm going to remove this for the time being. That was the welder. I'm going to make that the sensor. So something like that. Okay, so this one here should now be free. You just drop a bit of conduit on there. So, and I'm going to put a pusher, a conveyor there. So let's have a look at that. So the first one drops in, he drops there perfectly onto the second one. It's pushed to there. So there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Suspended in place. They've all got a welder behind them, except this one here, which I know I need to deal with. And finally, then I'd like to get this piece in. Actually, I'm just gonna. Now, it sits in line with these two here and just one over. Okay, so let's see how we're doing now. One more back to miss that stuff. Okay, how about that? I need to delete him, just rotate him. Okay, so I would like to pick him up here, isn't it? that one there. Okay, let's have a quick look at how that ends up. Okay, so that's again them all in place. This one here is the final one in. And this guy will need a welding square. I'm going to try this top right hand corner. So I'm going to put a welder looking down just beside that for his welder. So what I'm going to do is then I need a welder for this one, which I'd forgotten about. So to do that, I'm going to move this one back one, give it something like that, and stick the welder on its front. So it should still act as a blocker if I haven't messed it up, but there will be a welder now beside that square, and we're in. Lovely. Now, I also need a way of detecting that it's all finished. And to do that, what I'm going to do is, this is the last piece in, so I'm going to use, but there's two of them, which is now much easier when we use these things. So that's one of them. And now you say, it's a work of genius. Is that what I hear? Probably not yet. So let's just have a look and see whether this looks like it all works when this arrives. Nothing gets caught. Actually, you know what I'll do? I will just pause it all for 1 second. Not pause it, but just keep that one there so we can see these going in. 2, 3. And that was the final one in place. I mean, that looks pretty good. These new ones are coming in fairly fast. I need to get it out of here. So, right, you're saying, it's all very well and good, but you're missing half the welders. And yes, I know I'm missing half the welders. That is my cunning plan. GRAs, giant rotational arms and all that. So, I'd heard about these GRAs, and obviously they're not used mainly for this. They're mainly used to get quick cycle time solutions by whipping things around the area, but I thought I'd like to at least have one in one of my levels. So I think I know what to do, how to do one of them, but let's find out if I do. So the way they work is they have a pusher, which I believe has to fall into place. So let's do that. And then it's got to have a rotator like that, and a rotator like that. And then we have the arm itself. Isn't that fun? Right, so we need something to stop this arm going completely mad and ruining everything. Lovely. I believe that is, well, it's the start of a rotational arm. So, because I've never used one of these before, I just want to experiment with it first of all, and let's see what it does. So I'm going to put a sensor here. I'm just going to drop this block by this sensor and just see what happens to this arm at the start of the level. And you saw that it's like a, it like does a spank. There. So my plan is, if I've built this correctly, everybody should walk out of here. If I have the welders sitting here, they should just briefly touch against an opposite pattern of all these, and I should be a very happy man, he said. So I'm just gonna, I don't know why I'm doing this, except maybe as a, now I'm gonna try and pause this at exactly the right time to, so this top square here, this top corner here is in exactly the right place for this first row of welders, which is great news. So there's one there, then there's one, so I'm basically making this pattern on this. Now then if I go down one, there's another one there, and then there's two there, and a gap of one, and then a one, and a gap of one, and another one. And then in line with them there. Then I believe I might have done the top left square up here. Let's just see if I can do that. See if I can pause it in just the right. I mean, they look lined up to me. So, and then the only other thing I would like is a pusher to get it moving onto that track. So, here he comes. And nothing happens. I wonder, is it that at the wrong height, or am I catching it there? Okay, or maybe I didn't connect the thing up. Right. I'll leave that just in case I need to do another bit of testing, so hopefully yeah, that looks okay. Don't want to be in there. And there we go. Across it whipped. Did a lightning fast weld, and let's see if it got everything. Oh yes, it did. Now I am suitably impressed by myself. So, off it goes. I'll just go in here and have a quick look at this. This is the only really new thing that I've done this level. It's one of these, you know, they're called in the forums and things GRAs, giant rotational arms, and apparently there are all kinds of nefarious tricks you could put whereby welding something to the arm you can fling it halfway around the level in next to no time. But I obviously haven't welded anything. I'm not using it to move something, I'm just using it to get all these welders from over there, bang, and in one shot. I'm quite impressed by that. I mean, it's probably terrible for footprint, probably not great for block score either, but it's meant that this is kind of simple. Maybe it's not that simple. Who am I kidding? Anyway, so I've been reading in the forum, people talk about GRAs and I have no idea what a GRA is. I mean, this probably isn't technically a GRA because I'm not welding something to it and using it. But it's a big arm on a rotator which flips in and flips back again. So, you know, I'm happy enough with it. So I mean, on the low side on blocks, on the low side of cycles, I'm not completely unimpressed with that. Sorry about my voice has gone a little bit. I'm sounding a bit more husky than well, maybe I don't sound husky, but anyway. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video, and thanks once again to those people who have subscribed and have commented and liked videos. It makes me feel very appreciated, and thanks a million for doing that. If you enjoyed this one, please drop a like on it. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you don't like what you see, don't subscribe to the channel because you'll hate it. And if you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching. Bye now.